Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's the beginning of episode 3, I guess, here. And it's now the 3rd of January, and a little bit before 1 p.m. Not a whole lot that has changed, but I do want to show you what has changed. We've got the tomato holding on nicely. I've been watering it, and it's nice and healthy. I like that. That's a good thing for tomato. Unfortunately, the melons, which I still have to look up as of this recording, they're barely bouncing back after watering. I'm not sure if it's just shock, if they'll come back or what, but we'll see. Then we move on to all of these here. I've really only just managed to do these 3 here, which I cleaned up, just taking off some of the deader looking leaves, and I gotta tell you, honestly, the kale, that is wonderful. So now I understand why everybody likes kale so much. I think it is just kind of a standard salad green that people may not necessarily know as much about, but it was good. So let's go take a look outside and see what's going on out there. Okay, so if you remember, we have the nursery out here. Actually, the labels are all facing the other way. But if you also look carefully, you'll see that all the pots are empty. Well, all except for the few that weren't destined for another location yet. Those have all moved over here. I actually planted them all into this one planter here. That was the original plan, so I'm sticking to it. Now the next thing is for me to just water it with some fertilizer and watch them grow and hope they don't all go into shock and die. One of the hazards of transplanting so much, but we'll see. That's pretty much it for today, unless I get some more gardening done. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's about 12:30 on the 5th. On January 5th, and I just wanted to give you some updates of what I've gotten done in the last couple of days. So you can see the tomato plant's looking pretty nice. I'm trying a little different angle there. Sorry about that. I'm always kind of experimenting with how to shoot this video. But anyway, there's the tomato looking nice and healthy. I was worried about shock, but it's doing well. Unfortunately, here in the medium planter, they're not quite bouncing back as much as I had hoped. Maybe this one right here is doing a little bit better, but we'll see. All I can do is just keep watering and see what happens. We are due for some rain overnight, but for the moment the skies are pretty much blue. Not much else. I think I will mention that, well, let's see, there's a strawberry that I had talked about, and I had mentioned that I was going to do some research and figure out if they want more shade or more sun. Well, I forgot to do the research, and I just kind of rebuilt that one. So there it is. The butter crunch is doing nice. The broccoli is doing okay. It's not spectacular, but we'll see. The Swiss chard's looking beautiful. And there's not much else around here to mention. The 4 o'clock hasn't quite bounced back yet, and the geranium's doing as well as it has done. So that's pretty much it for inside. And on the outside, where you can see what this bush looks like. And maybe it's just dormant. That may be all it is, but I still need to clean the bottom of those planters. Cutting across here, we still got a couple that need to be transplanted at some point. And then when we get into this one, well, I put an awful lot of water to get them started, so I skipped a day, but I'm going to try and water today, because even with the rain we got coming tonight, I'm not really anticipating a whole lot of water making it to this one planter. It does have drain holes on the bottom, so we should be okay, and those green bits of tape there are just markers that help me lay everything out. This one over here, again, not a whole lot to see. And finally we have the nursery, which I've replanted all the seeds for those as of, I think, yesterday. No, actually the 3rd. It's the 5th now. Anyway, I've replanted them all. I'm not expecting any germination 2 days later. So that's pretty much it for this update. Oh, I pulled down all of the Christmas decorations on the office and on my own apartment. So that's it for today. Good morning, gardening friends. It's January 8th actually January 9th, sorry, at about 11:30, and pardon my voice, I'm fighting off the flu again. Well, I guess it's this year's flu, is probably the way to put it. But anyway, I wanted to try and give you some little updates. I'm not going to spend too long, so I don't spend too much time outside. The tomato is healthy, although I've had to stake it because a couple of days ago in the wind, there was wind, and then I looked through my sliding glass door and saw this and saw that it was pushed over. That's what I'm trying to say. So I staked it and got it back upright, and hopefully it'll survive all of that. These things are pretty robust, so we should be okay. As for the medium-sized planter with the melon seeds, they're not doing real well. Now I've got plenty of them to plant, so maybe what I'll do is just plant seeds. If these don't pick up in the next few days, I'll plant some seeds. Even the ones in the pots that I had originally, they're not doing all that well, and it may actually be sort of the cold weather that we're getting. It's kind of going from hot to cold, which maybe they don't like. I've got the green bottle out because I've spotted a couple of grasshoppers. And for those of you that may be of the same vintage that I am, you may remember back in grade school, flour and water makes paste. Well, that's basically what's in here. It's a bunch of water with a little bit of flour, just enough. You spray it on the grasshoppers, basically just gums up all the workings, and they, especially if you can get it right in their mouth, then they can't eat. And if they can't eat, they're no longer. So, moving on to the plants that are surviving, the Butter Crunch is looking okay. It's not getting any bigger, but it's surviving, and I've been watering it regularly. The broccoli is looking okay, not getting a lot bigger, but doing okay. The chard is doing quite well. And speaking of which, I've ordered up some new seeds, so we'll see how that comes along. The geranium on the end there is doing okay. The 4 o'clock is looking like a lost cause, but we'll keep watering it for a little bit. Outside, I don't know how well you can see far, kind of like right in the middle of the frame there is where I've got the nursery, and the nursery is doing okay. No actual sprouts yet. Actually, there's one thing I should show you outside. So here's the nursery, and you can see nothing sprouting yet, but it's only been about a week. What I really wanted to show you was over here, where I transplanted them all. These are getting a little healthier as time goes by. They're looking a little better. Not perfect, but they're living, and we'll see how much of this actually starts to bounce back. So that's it for now. Probably another update in another couple of days. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's about 1 o'clock on December 10th. The cold is getting a little better. My flu, I should say. The cold itself, the weather, though, they're actually predicting some frost in the next few days overnight. So this is Southern California, and it's kind of rare to have it get down around 34 degrees, which is what's predicted in the next few days. We'll see. I mean, the weather forecast will change. But anyway, just kind of wanted to get a picture of what everything looks like before the frost hits, just in case it manages to kill off everything. We'll have to see how everything survives. I've been thinking about it. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do to try and protect all my plants, and they're all young enough that it's not as much of a big deal. The main thing would be, and I don't mean to hover for so long in one place, but the main thing would be this tomato. I did invest a little bit in it rather than growing it from seed, and it's looking pretty healthy. I did have to stake it, like I said, but don't really want to lose it, but if I do, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Down here, most of these plants, it looks like maybe one here has started to grow. The rest of them really just don't seem to be doing too well. If I move along, these are doing okay. Actually, I'm looking at this and wondering if there's something growing next to my... No, that actually looks like it's part of the lettuce, so we're okay on that. So these are the 3 plants that I really have here, as well as the 4 o'clock over there, and the geranium on the corner. That's pretty much it for inside. Let's take a quick look outside. My main concern outside is the plants in these planters, which have taken me a while to get them going. You can see they're trailing down and doing pretty nicely. Actually, they're probably getting tangled down there in the bush. But it's these hanging planters, and then it's the larger planters over here
that I'd be concerned about. I've got this bush which has been growing for a while. It doesn't look wonderful right now, but maybe that's just kind of its winter state. Plants on the bottom I don't really care as much about. I can always replant because I was planning on kind of scraping a lot of that out and cleaning it up. These are just sort of extras, so if they survive where others don't, then I might use them to rebuild. But this is the one I'm more concerned about than anything, is this planter, which all of those are plants that grew in the nursery for a while, and I'm hoping that they'll continue to take here. I'm even a little bit afraid to give them water today for fear of the cold weather tonight, but I may give them just a really light dusting. And then we got this over here, which is pretty similar to that one over there. So that's what it looks like outside today. Let's see what it all looks like tomorrow or the next day. Brr. And good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now Saturday the 12th at a little past 3. And let's see, the night before last it got down, according to the National Weather Service, got down to about 37 degrees overnight. And if that wasn't cold, last night it got down to 31, below freezing. Plants appear to be doing okay. I had said a couple of days ago that if the tomato didn't survive, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It's a young plant, and it seems like it's healthy at the moment. It might take a couple of days for things to show up, I don't know. But there you go, that's what the tomato looks like. Nothing really growing here. I got the one here, which appears to be upright. But I don't know if that's really going to amount to anything. Not a big deal. They haven't been in there that long. I haven't committed that much to it, so I still have plenty of seeds in both cases. And in fact, maybe what I'll do, I've got, I think, 3 different types of seeds for melons, and this will be kind of the melon planter, at least I'm trying. And so maybe I'll split it in 3 and plant all 3 of them and see what survives despite the cold and the grasshoppers. Moving on, the greens are looking okay. We've got the butter crunch. Actually looks a little bit taller now than earlier this week. The broccoli, it doesn't look wonderful, but maybe it'll pick up when it heats up a little bit more. We got some good sun right now, and the chard is looking great. Again, I think it's just going to be a matter of when it warms up, we'll get a little bit more. 4 o'clock doesn't look like much. That may be a lost cause at this point, but then I can always get more seeds. And we got the geranium on the corner there, which has just been surviving for the last, well, actually I guess I picked that up at the beginning of last year, so been surviving about a year, and I may take some cuttings and plant from there. Meanwhile, I've got some seeds. Let's go look outside. Actually, before I get to the seeds, let's go look outside and see what we've got out there. Okay, starting from the south end, or the left side of all of this is really no change. The main thing to look at, they do all look dark, like they're still moist. This one here, plants are maybe 50-50 that they're surviving. Then we've got the other ones here. Moving on, we get over to here. And that's about it for this. Oh, let me swing around and see if I can get you a better view. I'm on the tripod again, so maybe this is a little bit better. If you think my last couple of videos looked a little more steady, it's because I'm using YouTube's stabilization feature, which seems to have improved quite a bit. But that's what the hanging planters look like. That one needs a little attention. If I swing around, you can see the ginkgo tree is free of leaves at this point. And we've got this one here, and that one there, which is really doing nicely. But I don't expect any blooms really until springtime. It's a little too cold. And in fact, I mentioned earlier that it got down to 31 last night. The prediction by the weather folks is that it's going to drop to 28 tonight. So, we'll see how everything survives. That's it for here. Now let's go back in, we'll talk about seeds. Okay, so here's the thing. With it being as cold as it is, it doesn't really make sense to plant seeds because they probably won't germinate, or if they do germinate, they may struggle. We're really not giving them much of a chance. in their dry state while they're dormant. I can figure out what seeds I want to plant. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and ordered up some seeds. Came in the mail. And let's see what we've got here. I'm going to tell you what 2 of the 3 of these are, so I can get them started. The third one is actually kind of a surprise thing, or an experiment, but they come in a plastic bag like so. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take away that one that I wasn't going to tell you about, but I'll go ahead and plant it and we'll see what it looks like. I'll decide later if I want to tell you more about it, but these are how the other seeds came, like this. And we've got Swiss chard here. So I'm enjoying the color of that Swiss chard so much. My apologies if there's a sudden jump here, but my memory card filled up. One of the hazards of dealing with an older camera that will only take 2 gigabyte cards. Anyway, so I've got the container here, and this is what the incubator project is about. I'm going to go ahead and put some soil, and you'll see what I'm going to do next. Okay, now, so this is just so simple. I've basically put the seeds on top of each of the pots there. I've already put the labels on, although I've hidden the label on the one on the right there. This is not really supposed to be a game or anything. I'm just kind of being careful about something here. If you want to guess at what it is, you can feel free. But all I'm going to do is I put the seeds on the top rather than trying to bury them, and I'm just going to dump some more on top. Just kind of level it out. Nothing fancy here. I'll just do a little bit more dirt there. They're all pretty much in the class of about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch below the soil line, and that should take care of that. And I'll show you the next step in just a second. This is really just so simple that most of you probably already figured it out. I just put them on the windowsill inside. That way they get the heat that they need, and all I do to water them is a simple Solo cup. It doesn't have to be Solo brand, but I mean a simple cup, and I filled it with water here, and I'm just going to pour a little water on it, and I'll just keep watering it every day and keep watching it, and we'll see when the seeds start to sprout. But the beauty is they're in the windowsill, they get the sun. This is a south-facing window, so they should get a pretty good amount of sun during the day, which really helps with what I'm calling incubation, which is really just a different form of the nursery that I have up on the wall. So I'm going to let these start to sprout, and once they've gotten a good start, I'll pull them out. There's multiple seeds in each one, so I'll have to separate them, but hopefully that'll be good enough for a couple of weeks until we get past this cold spell, and I can get them planted, and we'll go from there. So I think that's probably going to be it for this episode. I've recorded quite a bit for it, and we'll be on to episode 4, recording during this next week for next weekend. Until next time, folks.